my God. Hello, people of the podcast. I am back with another one. Yeah. I have been, gallivanting the world. I have been traveling and I've been just living in the moment. I didn't want to be filming too much. But today I told myself this is my last day in Zanzibar and I'm here at the beach chilling by a coconut tree. Can you hear the birds chirping? Can you hear the ocean waves? This is literally a meditative episode. You must enjoy the sounds of nature today with Goddess Monesi on the African Tantric Goddess podcast, season 2, episode 2. This episode is going to be a deep one. I just told myself, let me get to the deep shit from the get-go, deal with it, and move on with life. Because listen, I got money to make. I got more destinations to go to. Please. I was watching so this podcast, I actually never knew about it. I knew it, I found about it through the Slam Flower Hour podcast. If you don't know the Slam Flower Hour podcast by Chidera, y'all should literally go and literally watch. She is the reason why I started my podcast, because I was like, oh, Black African women speaking on all types of shit, dating, asking men for money, mental health, all types of shit. Yes, because it's really rare, especially in Europe, to see that for us. So I'm like, we need more of that, and I'm here, okay? And we are going to continue growing Black Findommes all around Europe and all around the world for African descent, period. This podcast episode I was watching was the Good Moms Bad Choices podcast, and they were talking about, it wasn't like the whole episode about it, but they just tapped into it, and it's like, I got like a little spark, like that little light bulb like thing in the cartoon in the cartoons. That I got that one, and it was about like the mother wound, talking on how our own mothers can be literally the reason why we have trauma, the reason why when we grow up as adults we have to, even not as adults, literally even in like you reach like teenagehood, you already start seeing therapists because of the trauma that your mom has inflicted on you. It's tough, and it's really common in African households. If you have an African mother, this is going to relate to you. And if you have an African mother and you're a sex worker, whether it's prostitution or domination or stripping, whatever form of sex work you do, you will even relate onto this harder. Growing up was fun, but then it became not fun. I was born in Nairobi, Kenya, and Nairobi, bro, Nairobi is my city. I love Nairobi, meaning to East Lando, Buru, Tanonane. When I tell people mini Manziwa Buru, they be like, are you for real? How? I'm like, yes, it's me, the one and only Manziwa Buru, period. I had a really interesting childhood. Going to primary school in Buru Phase 1 it was vibes. I loved school in Nairobi. I loved the trips we had, the events we had at school. It was so much activities, even though African countries and African households particularly, they really focus on, academic, how do I call it? Like academic success, kind of like everything is all about academics, being the first one in the class, being that, all of that. And I was that. I was number one of my class imagine 844 system. I was number one for my class for 5 years in a row, from class 1 to class 5, all the terms, term 1, term 2, term 3. I was number one, and best in science, best in maths. Honestly, I love maths. I like, even nowadays you give me a calculation, I do it top of my head. Like, I love maths. I'm a nerd. I love science. I love everything about art, animals, nature, plants. I just knew shit. I just knew shit. That's why I'm a holistic healer these days, and I'm into holistic healing, and the reason why yoga and plant-based eating makes sense to me, because like it just, like, I was just good at it, you know. Even chemistry, talking about like atoms and molecules, and it was easy for me. I was number one always. But then the other side of it was like the way we used to be beaten at school by our female teachers. They used to take those, you know, like those handles for like cooking fat. Kimbo was one of them. They used to cut that out. And then they like straighten it, make it like straight because it was carved. And we were beaten up, and if they couldn't like find that, they would take, like, you know, the plastic water pipes that's been cut. We were beaten, and it's crazy because that was happening at school. But then when I would get home, like, I will never have that. And it's like I was literally raised by my grandma from age 5 to age 12, because my mom already left to Europe when I was younger. So already that by itself, and then experiencing what I was experiencing at school, like, I had high expectations because I was a good kid and always first one of my class. But then also just getting beaten for stupid shit, for noise making, or like for missing 2 questions of your homework. You know, when they used to give us those papers of 1 to 50 or 1 to 100, and you don't like you miss 2 of them, you don't reply to 2 of them, you get beaten 5 times because of that little stupid shit. And it's like, since a kid I've been like, damn, I'm never enough. I never get to see my mom, or if I see her, it's once every 2 years. And even though I'm the first one of the class, I do one thing wrong, everything that I do right is forgotten, which is crazy because I was my grandma's favorite. She never even touched me. She used to yell at me, but she never touched me. She actually like taught me a lot about holistic health, about, you know, she was a nurse, but at the same time she was a herbalist. She believed in big pharma, but partially, you know. She was always giving me all types of like herbal teas and mixtures, and making me eat kunde, mrenda, all types of nasty shit so that I can be strong. She used to restrict me from eating ice creams and like fried foods, all of that. She taught me a lot about fruits. And by the time I was, is that rain? We nimekuja hapa nje kufilm stuff, mvua ianze saa hii. Please, I did not sign up for this. But like I was saying, like, she taught me a lot about, you know, vitamins and fruits, and what type of vitamins you can find in different fruits and vegetables and herbs. She taught me a lot, and she used to really take good care of me, and she was like my mom. But then my mom got married to a white man, and I moved in with them into some small village in France, and that's when everything shifted, and I got to know my mother and who she really is. Because, you know, when from the time you're born until age 5, you don't keep a lot of memories from that, you know, age. You know, you don't keep a lot of memories. So it's like I never had memories of my mom when I was younger until I was like 11, 12 years old, when we really started connecting. And just felt like I didn't know who my mom was. She felt more of a friend than a mother. My mom to me was my shosho, my grandma. It was really tough to adjust to that, though, like now, like living with somebody who I don't know. On top of that, having a white stepdad who adopted me and is now my dad, and then moving from Nairobi, a big city, to a small village in France where there was me and my mom were like the only black people in the neighborhood. I was the only black girl of my class, and that was literally 5, 6 years in a row. That was my life, and I had no experience of anything like winter or snow. I was just thrown into that, and I was struggling. I remember crying the first 3, 4 months in France, crying, begging my mom to find me a good school in Nairobi, and I just go there, and then during the vacations I can come and see her in France. I cried so fucking much, and they just wanted me to accept this new life, because when you have an immigrant mom, their reasoning for everything is, I sacrificed my whole life so that you can come here. That's the only reasoning for anything that happens. So basically, whatever you're feeling doesn't matter, because now she has succeeded what she had to succeed. But then it's like everything else is dismissed, because the financial and financial stability part is taken care of. Everything else is like I had to figure it out on my own. Like emotional availability wasn't a thing. Nilisema tu wacha nitoke, kamvua kalikam, nikatoroka, nikasema tu, well, I cannot have, my phone has gone through all types of shit. I cannot make it go through the rain. So mvua imestop, wacha tu ni film kiasi before karudi. Okay, I'm not manifesting it for it to come back, but I was saying the way I moved to France, and finally I had to like build a connection with my mom. Well, it was tough, because when I was in primary school in Kenya, people used to be like, wow, you're so lucky you have a mom, kuna mama anaishi majuu. I was like, and I felt like privileged to some extent. And then kufika majuu and seeing the reality, because you know when you grow up in Africa, they show you like Europe is paradise and everything. And I remember I was out there, and like I would see like white people begging in the streets, a white person asking me for money for food. I'm like, what is going on? And then experiencing the weather, the seasons, experiencing that I actually have hay fever because of spring and everything growing all of a sudden. Things I've never experienced as a kid, seasonal depression. I didn't know seasons, I didn't know winter. And I remember my first day of school in France, tulipelekwa ski, because I arrived in France in January. Tulipelekwa ski in the mountains. Imagine being the only black girl. First of all, in the whole school we were 2 black people, me and another girl from South Africa. So at least I had a friend I could speak English with. But Sasa, we were not in the same class because she was younger than me. And the way they put me 2 classes behind, of like I was with people who were 2 years younger than me, because I'm from Africa and I don't speak the language. The way they just like think Africans are stupid and like we don't go to school. All that time I had the best handwriting of the class. Maths best, science, you don't need to know the language for you to succeed in them. Like science is the same everywhere, no matter what language. Maths is the same everywhere, no matter what language you are learning it in. History is the same everywhere, no matter what language you're learning it in. It's simple. And they were like, oh, she's smart. And then they put me in a class with people who are like 2 years older than me. It's like anyway, they wasted my time for a year for nothing. But it was a lot of changes, and then having to know my mom, and then like all of those emotions I was feeling as a kid I was looking for a type of validation from my mom because she's my mom. I literally came out of her pussy, so of course she needs to be emotionally available to me. But that's when I started learning that, oh, she is trying to raise me the way she was raised, but she was born in the 70s. We are in 2013. At that time, it was 2013. Well, you know what I mean? Bro, and it's crazy because mental health in African households and emotions and all of that, it's like, it's not real. Since it's not seen, it's not visible, it's not real. And if you express it, it's like, no, that's a white people thing. And me thinking that I had a white dad, that life is gonna be easier for me. Hey, I don't know if that white dad had had some African influence. I don't know if my mom influenced him all of those years they were dating before they got married, because I didn't experience the soft life of having a white parent. It's like I had two African parents at the end of the day in that household. And I just didn't feel valued and loved like the way I was expecting my life in Europe and living with my mom would be. And I was hurt. And I remember not being protected when I was experiencing bullying at school. I was bullied so bad at school. People was jealous of me because of my dark skin, of my natural hair. It didn't matter any hairstyle I go to, they had something to say. I used to have my braids pulled at school. I used to be pushed down of the stairs because I had an African outfit. People used to spit in my afro. People used to make monkey noises at me. I went through a lot of shit just for being different and beautifully and unapologetically black. And it's crazy because those people who bullied me and did all of those things, they will have 1 hour detention and then their life would continue. Meanwhile, some white girl gets bullied, their bully gets suspended. My parents will pull up at school and they won't even make any effort. And it will happen again and again. They'll be like, just deal with it. Just don't listen to them. Just don't. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm never having kids. But if I decide to adopt and I hear Sijri Ati who did what to my kid at school, that school, I'm burning it down. It's going to the ground. What do you mean my kid is getting bullied? For why? Because she's black. Actually, the way I will burn down that school at detention. Anyways, I had to just deal with it. And it was too much for me. And it brought so much self-doubt. And you know when you're a young woman, when you're a young woman, when you're a kid, because being 12 is literally a kid, your role model as a daughter is your mom. So when you're not even being protected and you get bullied at school, and then when you're living in an African household, especially as a young girl, you have so much stupid expectations. Your weight is always a subject. How you eat is a subject. What you do is a subject. Like, everything is going to be a topic. Whatever you fucking do, good or bad, it's going to be discussed, and you're going to be either humiliated because of it or just something. So it's always something. You're never good enough. Never. I developed a lot of depression and I didn't know what to do, because when you're born and raised in an African country, nobody talks to you about mental health. And then now you're in a country that is new, you're learning the language, you're experiencing all of these changes, you're being bullied, you're having depression, you're having all of these things, and nobody is taking it seriously. I felt so neglected as a kid. And I remember I was having a lot of breakdowns. A lot of breakdowns. I would cry so hard. I want to go home. I want to go back to Kenya. I would cry. And I was like, they were like, no, just accept that you're here. I just had to accept. Like, I just had to accept all the bad things. Nothing will be taken care of, or they'll be doing a quick fix. Like, they will go and just book some random therapist, and I had to vibe with the therapist even though there was no connection, especially when you're in the countryside in France and all the therapists are white people who have no idea what it is to be a black person in a world like this. There's literally, like, how are they gonna help you even? How are they gonna help you? How? When? Where? What? Just doing stupid exercises. Oh, I want you to go. They were giving me homework. I already have homework from school and I hate school. Why would I do homework from therapy? Like, it's like I would talk and then it's like, okay, I want you to do this exercise. There was like, my point of going to that therapy was to find emotional help, like emotional support, because I wasn't having that at home. But I didn't get that. And it's like I was like being told, oh, you are ungrateful, you are this, you are that. It's like, no, this is a quick fix. I asked for something, you're giving me a quick fix and tell me to accept the bad things. I don't care. I have 1 hour of therapy in a week, but the other 167 hours, I'm still dealing with the same shit at school. I'm still dealing with the bullying. I'm still going to deal with the seasonal depression. I'm still going to deal with my mom neglecting how I feel. So it's a quick fix. It's not gonna help shit. It's not gonna help shit. It's not gonna help shit. It came to a point where I had a suicide attempt, and I remember I was rushed to the hospital, and it was the worst thing that ever happened in my childhood, to be honest. And even after that, my mental health wasn't taken seriously, and it got worse. I had developed a lot of anger. I used to have anger breakdowns. I would scream, I would cry. It was so bad. And my parents used to yell at me to stop. They used to yell at me to stop. They used to yell at me to stop. And my stepdad, the one who adopted me, became physically abusive to me. And when all of that was happening, my mom would keep quiet and not say anything. I never was protected during that whole time. I had to deal with it. And every time, like, I would have an anger breakdown, and like, it was my mom who was around at home and my dad would be like maybe at work or somewhere. My mom wouldn't come and check on me. She would call my stepdad to complain about me, and then my stepdad would come back and literally yell at me. And you know me, the way I am right now with this big mouth, I had it from day one. You talk shit to me, I don't care, I will talk shit back. And I will talk back because I'm like, no, this is all of the years of you neglecting what I've been asking for. Now I reach to this point. 1 + 1 is 2. It's not 0, it's not 1, it's 2. You get what you give. You neglect me, my mental health gets worse. Simple. It became so hostile in the household, and I will be just beaten for speaking up for myself, beaten for defending myself. And the way I live right now, the holistic life, the yoga, the plant-based eating, the meditation, I've been like this for 10 years. I started when I was young, and since I was different from everybody, didn't eat like everyone ate, didn't just sit around. I used to work out 5 times a week, yoga every day, meditation every day. like, I used to be attacked for that. We used to have guests at the house, and they will say shit about how I eat, and I will talk shit back, because nobody would tell them to stop, even though my parents would be there. So I had to defend myself. I became actually aggressive. You know the way they be like, black women are aggressive in me? I became that. You want me to be like that? I would be 10 times even more than what you expect. Because they see me as a young girl, so they're like, we can say shit to her. And I used to talk back. I used to be sent back to my room. And those same guests who used to disrespect me, they used to be invited again and again and again. And I hated them. I fucking hated them so fucking much. And I hated that household to the point where I started smoking weed when I was young, and after school hours, I would finish school at around 4:30 p.m. and I would stay out until 7-8 p.m. smoking weed, so that when I go home, I only have like 2 or 3 hours where I will see my parents or cross paths with them in the house before they go to sleep and wake up to go to work. I will do anything to spend less time with my parents, spend less time in that household, literally. On weekends or during vacations, I used to go to the woods near my parents' place, where I will go there and I will find refuge there. I used to literally spend my afternoons there. I will eat my fruits there, do my yoga there, and I started loving my body there. I used to go there and practice nudity in nature and just being me there, literally just basking in the sun. And if I had like really heavy emotions that day, that's where I would go and cry and shout, because I couldn't do that in the household. And I remember when I used to express myself and say that I go there to cry and shout when I'm feeling distressed, they would laugh at my face. And it's like, it's because you do not offer me a safe space to do that, so I have to leave the house to do that. I didn't like it at all. I didn't enjoy going to the hospital because I have broken fingers and broken wrists, because I was beaten down. I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy that everybody in my family and my step family knew what was going on, but everybody kept their mouth shut. I didn't enjoy that I experienced rape when I was 16, and the first instinct of my mom was, let me check your vagina. Oh, what are all these bumps around your vagina? Is this because you were raped? The rape was literally 6 months ago. So the fact that I spent a whole 6 months and scared to talk to my mom about it already speaks volumes about who my mom is. And when she learned about it, because she learned it through the psychiatrist, it wasn't through me. I would have never told her myself, to be honest. But when she learned about it, that was a reaction. And if it wasn't for the psychiatrist, she would have never known, because I knew her reaction would be shit. And it felt bad because it was 6 months ago. The bumps are there because I'm using a bad thing for shaving, and I have sensitive skin and I need a different one. Like, I used to be, I remember my mom used to come and see how I dress and check every time how I dress. And when there was a guest coming in the house, even when I was an adult, I'm 18, I'm 19, when there's a guest coming and they're coming with their husband, I had to cover myself. I couldn't sit outside during the summer in the garden and getting some sun in my bikini, because there's a man who's coming to visit my parents, and I had to cover up. And it's like, I left that house when I was 19 and I never moved back. It was always something about me, myself, who I am as a person, my personality, my body, anything they could make a comment about or judge about me, they will do it. And like, it's crazy, because when you have a kid and you do not raise them, somebody else raises them, and then you get that kid when they are entering teenagehood, because 12 you're already growing up, like you're entering puberty at that time. I had my first period at that age, all of those things, and it's like I've already built a personality myself. I'm not who I used to be when I was 5 years old. I already have my own little habits, my own little routines, that I either picked up from my aunties or my grandma. And you having like somebody who's 12, and then on top of that, the person you're married with adopts them when they're 12. I'm sorry, I'm already my own person at 12. I cannot be who they want me to be. This whole time living with them, those 8 years of living with them, they wanted me to be someone I'm not. They wanted me to be the kid that they wish they had. And the topic all that time was them having another kid, and I understand why their focus was on having another kid, so that they can have their kid. That's their kid. And now that they have their kid, I can see the fucking difference of how that kid is being raised and treated, and how I was treated. So that means if I was their kid from the age of like 2 or 3 or 5, my life would have been different from this. Like the way I was treated as a child would have been different. I would have been loved unconditionally. I would have been spoiled unconditionally. Because even though now that both of my parents are really good financially, they've been really good financially since I was 18. I didn't still get the love and like things that I want, because it's like now I'm an adult, and since I've caused them so much problems with my mental health and my suicide attempt as a kid, I can just go and figure it out on my own. It's like it was never about sacrificing life for me to have a good life in Europe. It was never that. It was never about sacrificing her life for me to come in Europe. It was never about the financial stability and having a good house and being in Europe. You see, because now it was never about that. It was all about controlling me. Because now that my mom has been living all these years in Europe and she has all the money, now that I'm still their child, whether I'm 12 or 30 or 50, I am still her blood. I'm still her child. Nothing, nada. It was always about controlling me, and since I didn't turn out the way they wanted me to turn out, it fucking annoyed them. And it was like, okay, you're 18 now, figure that shit on your own. And I used to be so sad, because I remember like when I was traveling the world and trying to make a living, and people would be like, why are you struggling? Just call your parents, you're 18. People who are like 18, 19, 21, they get financial help from their parents. I'm like, you call them for me, and then you tell me what they say. It's so hard getting financial help and then being belittled and talked badly to just because you got that financial help. I don't want to be yelled at because you gave me 1,000 euros. I don't want to be yelled at. I wouldn't want that money, to be honest. I wouldn't. It's not worth it. Because to be honest, as me, if like I say, if I ever adopt, my daughter decides to leave, even before my daughter decides to leave the house, she will already have everything she wants, an apartment, a car. I will make that available ASAP, because I wouldn't make a bank account with a trust fund and savings for her for like university, an apartment and house, and then use it. It's her money. She will have that money, and she will have the apartment and everything by the time she leaves the house. I don't want to hear my child ever call me and tell me they are homeless. They will never fucking experience that. And if that ever happens, I'm coming to save them quick. I don't care if they're in the other side of the world. I'm taking the flight next, first flight of the morning I'm going. Because what the fuck? I don't care how bad they become mentally. I don't care if they get into drugs. I will do everything to get them out of that. Every fucking thing. I even have to, if I have to sell my own house for their mental health, I'll fucking do it. Because that's my fucking kid. What the fuck? And I came to understand, like, because I remember when I was young and I was at school and I would see these rich kids and they will always be sad and complaining about shit. Now I understand, even in people who have parents who are financially stable, they still go through shit. They still get emotionally abused, physically abused, verbally abused. Like, I understand. I understand completely why they used to get annoyed and why they used to just complain about shit back in school. I fucking understand now. It's like, please, people, before you adopt kids, before you give birth, work on your mental health. Let's go the generational trauma. Because generational wealth is nothing. Doesn't matter how much money you make for your kid to have a nice house or come to Europe or do all of these things. If you still carry that generational trauma, you're going to pass it on to that kid. By the actions you do, by the things you tell the kid, by the way you react about your kid's struggles. That will affect the kid so much, and they will carry that into their adulthood. And till this day, I find myself sometimes having trouble to control how I feel about some things that happened 5 years ago, 6 years ago, or having like something come into my mind, or hearing my stepdad's voice or my mom's voice about certain things. Or I could literally be chilling, I swear to God, like even right now, I could literally be chilling like this at the most beautiful destination of the world, Zanzibar. I'm going on vacation. It will just pop out of nowhere. Trauma is fucking, it's a big weight to carry on your back, my guy. Childhood trauma. And it's crazy, like, it's so fucking crazy. And I so proud of myself for being the bitch that I've become, okay, the goddess that I've become, because I don't even see myself giving birth to someone's kid. I don't see myself marrying someone. I do not see myself having sex with no man at all. 7 months celibate, people. I don't see myself even having like friends, having just been friends with random people just because we're from the same country or one. I don't see that. I'm literally going to be so picky for the rest of my life. I'm going to be so picky about the people who I surround myself with, about who I decide to call a friend. Like, I'm going to be so fucking picky. I'm not going to tolerate more trauma. I'm not going to tolerate more trauma at all. I do not want to be living with people and I have no privacy. It's so hard, especially when you are like 15, 16 and the key of your room is getting taken away. You have no privacy. Like, I hated it when just people could just come into my room and I'm naked. And I get yelled at and beaten down naked. That is abuse. As a dad doing that to your daughter, that is abuse. I remember being called a bitch, being called stupid, being called a failure. I remember being cast out for shit. And like, they will knock, they wouldn't even wait for me to approve their entrance. They would just knock and open the door. I'm like, I'm fucking naked, the fuck? And I love how I made myself the promise to leave that house at a young age, because let me tell you something. You will never grow up as an adult when you are still living in your parents' home, especially if they have already been emotionally unavailable and they've already shown you their true colors since you're a kid. There's no, especially if you have a younger sibling who's getting all of the things you wished you had when you were a kid, and now you are there as an adult. You have to see that with your two eyes, and then on top of that have like all the responsibilities now, because now you're an adult, so you're treated in a certain way. You're not the beloved kid, you're not mama anymore, you're not baby anymore. You won't become, it doesn't, even if they make you pay like rent or some bills, or they make you do your own groceries, you will still feel like a child. You will never grow up to be the adults that you want to be if you still live in your parents' home as an adult. Like, by the time you're 18, 19, 20, I would say actually 19, 20 will be the perfect time to leave your parents' home. It's time for you to travel, to explore the world the way you want to explore it. Even if life is tough, it was tough, to be honest, because I had to do a lot of house sharing. I've experienced homelessness a lot. I've done so many things to just like be independent and take care of myself. But even though I suffered, I would have rather done that than live with my parents. 100%. 100%. And like, I still have stuff left at my parents' home. Until this day, I wouldn't go back to get them. I don't give a fuck. They can stay there and perish there. Period. Whew, child. Mother wound is something that so many African daughters, it's a wound that we all carry, to be honest. Most of us, we carry that wound. And even though now I'm growing into this divine feminine that I am, that wound is always going to be there, because that's the woman who brought me into this physical world from the spiritual world. So like, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, I will always be connected to her. So if there's a wound, it's there. And for me, moving on and going into adulthood, because I'm 22, I'm still young, literally, like, I'm still young. But like, going into adulthood, like, I will just have to change how I react to that wound and not let it affect me as much, because I know it's always gonna be there, no matter how much therapy I do, no matter how many times I try to reconnect with my mother and make amends. That wound is gonna be there, because I have tried to reconnect with her and it's not working out. And it's like, it's, you know, the way it's easy for us to live romantic relationships, we could do the same with like our parents. There's no reason to hold on onto something that's really unrealistic, that's hurtful, that's traumatic. There's no reason to hold on to that. There is no fucking reason. Girl, especially as a beautiful black woman like you are, the world is for you to enjoy, okay? To chop life, make your money, do whatever the fuck you wanna do, period. And I feel like me also stepping into Findomme is way more than rebellion. It's me reclaiming everything that I wish I ever had as a kid. All of those years I've cried because I wanna move back to Kenya, because I wanna, like, you know, live in Kenya and build a life in Kenya. It's slowly happening for me. It's slowly happening for me. I'm like already acquiring properties, you know, here in Zanzibar, here in Kenya. I'm already getting all of those things I've been crying for since I was 12. And I feel like if I never stepped into Findomme, I would still be that hurt child who's still crying about it. I had to like tell myself no. I told myself age 21 will be like shift for me, energetically and also physically and financially, and I made it happen, because I am not going to experience what I experienced as a child. No. Yo, I've been wanting to do this episode for a while now. It was an episode I've been wanting to tap into. I finally did. I finally fucking did. It was a tough one because this trip in Zanzibar, I have spent this trip just releasing a lot, because I literally cut off my parents, both my mom and stepdad, 2 months ago. So it's still fresh for me to like realize that. And you know, when I'm in Europe, when I'm in Amsterdam, it's work, work, stress, work. And when I arrived here, I've felt everything in my body and in my mind and in my heart, the stress, I've been carrying, the way I have so much pain in my body because I'm always working and always moving and always doing that thing. And like, I felt like this moment of relaxation and vacation was also a moment for my body to be like, okay, now you can feel everything you've been feeling for the past 2 months. It's painful. It's fucking painful. But crying and also feeling that anger is part of the process of healing. And I feel like this is the hardest thing that you could do, especially as an African daughter, cutting off your mom. Because you know how it is in African families. They be like, that's your parent, you know, you just have to make amends and deal with it. And if they say shit, just fucking deal with it. And you're doing that as an African daughter, cutting off your parents, especially your mom, is the hardest thing you could ever do. It's the fucking hardest thing you could ever do. Fucking hell, it's so hard. It's so hard, but I'll rather cut them off than go back to them again trying to reconnect. Whew. Whew. Child, that was a needed episode. Yeah, I will be back with another one here next week. You know, I feel like I haven't filmed or posted like this whole vacation because damn, I was processing a lot. And now y'all can understand, because fucking hell, it's hard. Shit. Yo, thank you so much for listening to this episode, y'all. My links are down in the description as always. I will see y'all next week for another episode.